The information provided in this podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as personal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional or expert in the relevant field for personalised advice tailored to your specific situation.
No, so as she was continuously getting older, her level of cover was continuing to drop. So they're charging us more and they're actually giving us less. One of the things that I love saying to my clients and what I love doing is I like getting my clients and helping them with their finances in the sense that getting their money working harder for them, right? And just being a little bit smart about it and just structuring things in a better way so that they can get the best possible outcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tamara, and I am the practice manager at Ryker Capital. Welcome to another episode of the Wealth Guide, of course, sponsored by Ryker Capital. I am here today on the couch having a one-on-one conversation with one of our senior advisors, Dean. And we're really diving into some client case studies to really showcase and really talk about how you are adding value to, I guess, regular Australians. There's a real misconception that financial advisors, before you should be seeing a financial advisor, you really need a chunk of money for them to help you invest. I know there's been a lot of surveys, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, at least 200,000 before I can see a financial advisor, and that's actually not the case, which is one of the reasons why we're doing these case studies. I'm going to set the scene for this. So we've got a couple. They had worked overseas a lot of the time. So they've come to you a little bit more mature age, low super balance as a result. So really behind in that retirement savings through super. They also had a child a bit later in life. So they have a financial dependent who is relatively young as well, too. So really faced with that. So they've come to you with, what do we do now? You know, we're buckling down. We know we are at the business end of making sure we're caring for our child. We need to make sure we're building up assets for retirement. I know one of the things that you brought up was, and I believe it was in the lady's superannuation, she was paying quite a bit of money in insurance premiums for her insurance too. So that is kind of the scenario. Do you want to kind of flesh out where you went from there, Dean?
Yeah, so as you were saying earlier on, the clients were basically working overseas for an extended period of time. There was no really money going into the super fund, and there was just insurances bleeding it all out. So then when she came back, she then realized that unfortunately from a super perspective, there was not much there. And they do have a few years until they retire they ideally want to retire within the next 10 years. So they were very concerned, the both of them, that, okay, well,
how do I build it up?
Correct.
Where do I go from here?
Correct. And then what's going to be the best way to build it up? Where do I put it? Do I put it within my super fund? Do I save it outside? Because they wanted to start, and their mindset was really starting to go towards retirement. They still had a little bit of a mortgage, but the mortgage was basically almost all done anyway.
So that was good.
So yeah.
But they need cash to live.
Correct. They understood very well that at the end of the day, depending on their situation, but an age pension, the government age pension, as usually now, and what we've come to see is that it doesn't suffice.
No, so they really were stressed about, they knew they needed to have more money in their investments somehow.
Correct. So what we then started to do is we started to look at their current cash flow and try to delve in and really understand what does their surplus cash flow look like. I was able to then create a strategy for them that was going to allow them to actually add some additional money back within super to start basically paying catch up for all that time that's passed. So we played catch up with them to be able to start to really continue to build and really start building that super fund so that when they come to retire, they've got something.
So this is additional. So obviously they're employed in Australia. We all know our employer puts money in. So you're talking about the extra voluntary, contributions and doing it through, I think it's salary sacrifices. Is that right?
Yeah.
So really that is getting your employer to make additional payments directly into the super And that helps you with your tax situation too, doesn't it?
Correct.
So really that kind of a strategy, really going through, correct me if I'm wrong, so it's really nailing and understanding their cash flow so that you can understand what they're able to salary sacrifice. And salary sacrificing does two things. They're playing catch up on their super balance, and it's also decreasing their tax. You gave me some numbers, and with this strategy for this particular couple, they were actually saving, it was just under $4,000 in the first year on tax.
Yep.
So if they continue doing that, then it's like tax savings in the future years as well. $4,000 savings on tax is very significant. And I think too, then you modeled it out. That increased that strategy as far as increasing their balance. It actually increased it by a couple $100,000 from what they were on track to achieve beforehand as well. Now, tell me what you did, and this was interesting. So remember the gal in the couple paying about $4,000 in insurance premiums. What did you find out about the insurance cover that she had when you researched it? It wasn't appropriate. Well, I was actually shocked when I heard this.
Yeah. So basically, the cover that she actually had in place was the just default type of cover where it was constantly changing with her age,
decreasing as she got older. I couldn't believe that. I guess people don't really understand that that's a thing.
Correct. No, so as she was continuously getting older, her level of cover was continuing to drop, and the premiums were going up.
Yeah.
So they're charging us more and they're actually giving us less.
Because we talked about this as another podcast, and this is an actual example where this was really right in your face.
Correct.
And the problem with that too is because they have that child later in life, they will have a financially dependent child. So when you did the insurance, I found that you actually got something in place for about the same premium.
Correct.
That was, I think, twice the cover, and it wasn't decreasing.
Correct.
Which is a massive difference. So really understanding and having the right research to understand what you have and then what your options are was also significant.
A lot of the time, things on the surface level, it looks very different to when you actually dig a little bit deeper into it. So even when I was having the conversation with the client around her existing insurances, she was initially, she thought, she wasn't really aware that her level of cover was really reducing. And
she just saw the premium, but she didn't understand what the cover was.
Correct.
Really.
Correct.
Okay. That was huge. Thank you very much. So we've got a client's need to catch up in their super. We've got some tax savings as well, and we have the proper insurance because of the nature of the necessity for that client too. So.
And I think the biggest thing for them as well was the fact that we were able to actually really help them with a strategy that was going to give them some peace of mind coming closer towards retirement. And even the funny thing is as well is with the partner, he had a very, very small amount, right? And he had the common conception and idea of, superannuation, what am I going to pay it for? I don't need it. And then after our discussion where I explained to him, look, superannuation is designed for your retirement.
Yeah.
If we don't have enough in there, don't get me wrong, yes, potentially, depending on your circumstances, as this pension is always asset tested and income tested. But depending on your circumstances, even if you were to be able to receive a full age pension, if you're living and your lifestyle expenses are $60,000 a year,
that pension is not going to cover that lifestyle as well.
Correct.
I'm picking up two things here then. It's cash flow, know your numbers. Work with an advisor like yourself to really drill into your numbers. Come up with what your sustainable surplus cash flow is. Make it work hard for you and show you what that result is and really model out what that looks like so people can make a really informed decision with that really expert guidance.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. One of the things that I love saying to my clients and what I love doing is I like getting my clients and helping them with their finances in the sense that getting their money working harder for them, right? And just being a little bit smart about it and just structuring things in a better way so that they can get the best possible outcome.
No, that's good. Well, the numbers talk, Dean. The numbers talk, the modeling numbers. Thank you very much. This is a really excellent client case. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.